From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network and Troy campuses around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Weekly.
Welcome to Troy TrojanVision Weekly. We're glad you joined us for this look at what's happening in and around Troy University. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. The Hall School of Journalism and Communication has graduates working all over the country. However, Monday morning, current students had the chance to hear from a Hall School alumnus who works at the national level for NBC News in New York. CJ Morris has the story.
The Hall School of Journalism held its annual symposium with Micah Grimes as the guest speaker to give students social media advice on how they can better their careers through social media.
Talked about some advice and learning that I've picked up through my years in journalism and in social media, how you can do it if you want to do social media, if you want to be a writer, want to be a reporter, producer, on air, it really all applies.
I was also able to gain some insight on how students feel about social media changing journalism.
Information comes out extremely quickly, way more quickly than it has in the past. It can be posted in literally seconds and go viral in minutes. And so I think that's definitely changed the whole journalism world.
I know I see more news on social media than I do actually, on the TV. I follow it as a young college student too. I like to watch the Trojan Vision. I like to watch, stuff that's going on that will benefit me in the real world.
Grimes also talked about the landscape of journalism for students coming out into this field in the future.
And then this is a great time for journalism. There's jobs everywhere. When I was coming out, I was in the middle of the Great Recession and there weren't jobs and I just barely got one. So it's a much more exciting time now to me and a much more hopeful time than it was then when everything was closing down and people were being laid off and fired.
I'm CJ Morris, Troy TrojanVision News.
This past weekend, a group of Troy University students traveled to Murfreesboro, Tennessee to take part in the annual Southeastern Journalism Conference. Taylor Pollock gives us a look at what the students took away from the conference.
Journalism students got a chance to learn outside of the classroom last weekend when they attended the Southeastern Journalism Conference at Middle Tennessee State University.
We teach about fundamentals and basics of journalism and then help our students grow through the student media that we have, the Tripolitan, the Palladium, and Trojan Vision. And those are wonderful opportunities, but it's also really interesting to see what other schools are doing and what professionals in other places are doing.
The conference not only served as a learning experience for students, but also a networking opportunity.
You get to connect with other journalists from other schools. You get to see how other students in other schools, how they run their media, and you get to talk to them. So it's not just about networking with professionals, but networking with other students is just as important as, networking with people that are in the media world.
Aside from the competitions, workshops, and fellowship, the most important thing was the message of unity that former, current, and future journalists share when it comes to ensuring democracy.
You can point out that there is injustice or some kind of unfairness that's happening. You can make a difference in this world. I think that's really important for our students to hear, especially at a time where it kind of feels like a thankless job.
The library is now more accessible. Visitors can now access the library by using an elevator that in the past was locked down due to security, but is now open to allow ease of access to patrons, for some of whom stairs could be an issue. Natalie Ledbetter explains.
Ever since the opening of the library, the students have only had one entrance, but recently the elevator has been opened to the second floor and a door on the third floor as well.
Since the building opened, we've had trouble with this because a decision was made to, instead of make the whole building for the library, it was chopped in half and other departments got part of it, and so they just kind of sealed half the building off. But that meant it was very hard to get from floor to floor if you had any kind of mobility issues at all.
Opening the elevator makes access to the library more convenient for all, but the students with disabilities will benefit most from this change.
Primary reason we did it, because we want to be here for everybody.
Opening the new access areas was a debate, but there were security issues found in there being only one entrance.
It's done it. People liked the idea of the security, which was somewhat false, but the way it was, there's only one access and egress point, and so you knew where everybody was going to come and go.
Some students have been able to take advantage of the opportunity of this new add-on to the library.
I think everybody's been very happy about it, and I've gone around and talked to students who are here all the time, and they've especially been happy about being able to get to the restroom with a great deal more ease.
Anyone has access to the library from the first floor to the second floor, or vice versa from the second floor to the first floor. Natalie Ledbetter, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Troy's dance program is celebrating its 10th anniversary with a retrospective performance in the Trojan Center Theater. Shantia Wilson gives us a look at the performance that will feature current and past Troy dancers.
Troy University's Department of Theater and Dance is celebrating a decade of dance excellence with a production that features a compilation of 16 performances to highlight the all-encompassing program.
Our production this spring is called Together We, and it is a celebration of 10 years of the Department of Theater and Dance here at Troy. We are covering a little bit of everything. We're bringing back pieces from the very beginning of this journey up until pieces that we did my very first year here in 2015, and we even have some new works as well.
Among the students participating in the celebration are also alumni from the original performances. At the start of the program, there were only 6 dancers, and the Department of Theater and Dance has continued to evolve since.
It's kind of like a dream come true. I loved being in this program when I was here 8 years ago, and it's odd being back because there's so many more people. When I was here, there were only 6 of us, and the group has pretty much like exploded since then. Going back and looking at all the pieces that I used to be in and seeing like now I can pass the torch on to somebody else, remembering those memories from rehearsals. I don't quite know how we got to the steps, but I just know, oh, I remember that. I remember those counts, knowing that in my body and just being able to see someone else perform it. It's kind of like looking in a mirror almost. It's amazing to me that these girls have not only taken what we've done, but they've made it so much better and so much more, and something to be proud of, like that all of us can be proud of, not just us as dancers, but the entire dance department, the entire theater department.
The production showcases a variety of dance and illustrates the depth of the program.
Just be prepared for a wide variety of dance. We go from the commercial side of dance to the concert style of dance. We do tap, hip hop, lyrical, modern, all types of things, from off-the-wall exhibits to the most beautiful lyrical dances that you can think about. So if you come here, just keep an open mind.
Opening night will be February 21st at 7 p.m. in the Trojan Center Theater. Shantia Wilson, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
We'll take a short break, but when we return, we'll see how some Troy students are raising some dough to fight hunger in Pike County. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
It's the Talk of Troy. This week, we talked to Micah Grimes, head of social media at NBC News, about what it means to be a journalist.
My job isn't to give you my personal opinion. I want to help present these sides in educated ways so people can make the best decisions for themselves.
Hear more on this week's Talk of Troy, Fridays at 8:45 a.m. and 3:44 p.m., and Sundays at 4:35 p.m. on Troy Public Radio.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
Middle and high school students from around the area were given a chance to learn about Troy University's art program and get some hands-on experience. Janae Jordan shows us how.
Middle and high school students from across Southeast Alabama filled the courtyard of Malone Hall as young artists visited Troy for the annual Art Day, an opportunity for these budding artists to experience what Troy has to offer.
That we're real excited because, as usual, Trojan Art Day grows every single year. I believe the count today, one bus didn't show, but the count was around 370 people. So that's a lot of students moving in and out, kind of looking at our facilities.
Art Day also has a competitive element as well. Some of these artists contributed work that could end up being shown in a statewide competition.
We host District 2, which if you drew a line from Opelika over to Prattville south to about the Florida line, all the high schools and junior highs in that district get to send 10 artworks per teacher here. We hang an exhibition and judge it, and the first place winners and 3 wild card winners in each of the categories, middle school and high school, get to go on to the state competition that is held in April in Montgomery.
The major component of the day was the hands-on projects that the students could work on while they were on campus.
We have almost every faculty member is offering some sort of workshop or hands-on kind of activity. There is hula hoop weaving, rock painting. We have a group making sketchbooks up in 209, button making. We have students making clay bowls for our Empty Bowls initiative here in Pike County. There are students out drawing at different places on our campus doing plein air drawings.
Those chalk drawings spilled to the outside of Malone Hall for all those that passed by to see. One chalk drawing featured a cartoon take on a famous classic.
We're drawing a chalk drawing. Ours is based off of The Birth of Venus, and we're doing it inspired by Roger Rabbit and Warner Brothers. We felt as if The Birth of Venus, right? It's an easily recognizable drawing. It's something that everyone knows of. And we thought of also the Warner Brothers. Everyone knows Looney Tunes and all that, you know.
Hunger is a problem that can be felt across the globe, but an initiative by Troy University's Campus Kitchens is looking to prevent hungry bellies locally. Janae Jordan has more on the fight against food insecurity in Pike County.
Troy University's Campus Kitchen is raising the dough to help fight food insecurity right here in the Pike County area.
It's called Raise the Dough. It's kind of a play on words of raising dough like you're baking bread, but also raising money. And so for our Troy Campus Kitchens, all of the money raised for Raise the Dough will go to fight hunger here in Troy and Pike County.
Giving the dough for Campus Kitchens is super easy. All you do is log on to Campus Kitchen's Facebook page, click on the link, and donate.
People may not know where their next meal is coming from or may have a hard time obtaining that. We call that food insecurity, and so we fight food insecurity here in Troy and Pike County through these meals that we gather.
With the extra funding, Campus Kitchens will be able to further impact the community through their volunteer programs such as Backpack for Kids and CK Meal Prep.
You can always volunteer for our meal prep shifts or our meal delivery shifts. Meal prep is on Thursdays at 2:30 and delivery is on Fridays at 1. You can sign up for those on Volunteer Hub, which you can also find on our social media.
If you're interested in volunteering for Campus Kitchens, head on over to the Campus Kitchen at Troy University Facebook page. Janae Jordan, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Football season has homecoming. However, at Troy, basketball season has an event of its own. And those hoopcoming activities started this week with a fundraising effort that will decide who will serve as Hoopcoming King. CJ Morris has the details.
It's not homecoming, it's hoopcoming, and it is an annual event sponsored by Freshman Forum. Donations and nominations are made to select a Hoopcoming King.
Hoopcoming is an event that Freshman Forum puts on, and it's like homecoming but for hoops. And a bunch of different organizations have nominated people to be Hoopcoming King, and there's going to be a lot of different events, but the main thing that we're doing is raising money for philanthropy organizations.
Any organization can nominate a candidate, and donations go to the philanthropy of the winner's organization.
So we're using fundraising as a tool for Hoopcoming this year. So what it is it's a way to get all of the students on campus involved by letting the organization have like a charity of their choice that they get their Hoopcoming King to participate in. So it's a way to like raise money for charities and get everyone on campus involved.
In order to be king, you have to participate in an event at halftime during the Hoopcoming game.
This year we have 15 nominees. We'll have tables set up in TC and an event put on at halftime of the men's basketball game on February 28th. So in order to win, you have to be the nominee who raises the most money, but also you have to partake in a game at halftime of the Texas State Troy basketball game.
I'm CJ Morris, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll see how a group is trying to make the city of Troy a little more green. It's coming up after this, so stay tuned.
We go and clear the roads looking for IEDs. We're encapsulated in those vehicles, and we get blast wave injuries very easily inside of those things. I'm actually diagnosed with PTSD and multiple cases of mild traumatic brain injury. But I was brought up, drive on, don't let your soldiers see that anything's wrong. But I started to realize that I wasn't the same guy. Having more bad days than good days set in more and more after each deployment and each injury. When I finally realized that I needed professional help, the switch for me was my family. And my wife, Tanya, thank God, she's open and honest with me and hounded me enough times to where I did go and get treatment. And I'm so happy that I sought the treatment because I know that if I hadn't, there's no way I'd be a first sergeant right now. I know that if I hadn't said help, I would have remained helpless. I definitely think that soldiers are stronger when they realize they have a problem and they ask for help.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
The City of Troy has started construction on a new sidewalk as part of a plan to promote alternate transportation methods and downtown development. Taylor Pollock has more.
There's nowhere to go. There's no sidewalk area.
That's what Latasha Collins, who takes daily walks around her neighborhood to stay healthy, has to say about Park Street. But for her and other pedestrians in the downtown Troy area, that's all about to change.
This is the 2016 TAP project. It was a transportation alternative program through the Alabama Department of Transportation grant. What this does is it constructs the sidewalk along the eastern side of Park Street from Elm Street to Madison Street.
According to Sanders, the sidewalk, which began construction earlier this week, will have multiple positive effects for the area.
We hope with infrastructure projects that it helps spur activity as far as development.
One of the goals of the downtown plan is to promote healthier lifestyles for pedestrians and cyclists. And for those who travel this area by bike or by foot, this is a step in the right direction.
I think it's really good because I walk this area a lot, mainly the Elm Street area, but if they did get a sidewalk, I would walk that area more frequently, so I think it'll benefit.
In the meantime, while the City of Troy is making the area safer for pedestrians, they ask that motorists play it safe around the busy area.
Safety is key. While traversing this area, be slow, watch for pedestrians, watch for workers, because we want everyone to be safe in the City of Troy.
And while the City of Troy is adding some more sidewalks to town, another group spent Thursday morning trying to add a little more green to the area. Cody Giles shows us how.
The Pike County Alabama Treasure Forest Association is holding its 21st annual tree giving event to give residents of Pike County the chance to give back to Mother Nature and turn one of these into one of those.
We are giving out trees from the Treasure Forest Association of Pike County. This is our 21st annual tree giveaway. The trees have been donated from the wildlife group from Tuskegee. We have several different groups that are with us today. This is actually sponsored by Treasure Forest, but we have Master Gardeners of Pike County that are volunteering, and the Farm City Committee of Pike County also volunteering.
Planting trees not only provides something to look at, but will help sustain the environment for years to come.
They're not making any more land, and all we can do is to conserve and to take care of and to replant and to replenish.
We need green space. It's just very important for the environment, and we just encourage people to plant for the environment.
This isn't the only chance to get involved with activities like this. Anyone can plant a tree to replenish the world, one seed at a time.
We encourage you, if you missed out on it today, to find a place where you can get trees, where you can plant. Even something in your yard as small as a peach tree will improve and increase your home's value to others and to you too.
Cody Giles, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
While a number of student groups have held Lunar New Year celebrations over the past few weeks, another group brought Lunar New Year to the Quad on Monday afternoon. Troy's Confucius Institute took the opportunity to celebrate the New Year as a way to help teach students about Chinese culture. Daisy Ling has the story.
Chinese New Year celebration is held by Confucius Institution today. The rich traditional activities make passing students enjoy themselves.
Today we had calligraphy and we had bracelet making, I believe. Also we had the Birmingham Chinese Festival Association come and perform some waist drum dances. The calligraphy was done over here. We were teaching students how to do basic characters, their name, things like that in Chinese. And the bracelets, we were teaching traditional Chinese bracelet making.
A Chinese visiting scholar attending the event said she likes that Americans are getting introduced to Chinese calligraphy and painting.
I like to introduce Chinese culture, especially Chinese calligraphy and Chinese painting. So I think many of Western people, especially American people, like Chinese painting. So I want to let them know how to painting, how to write Chinese calligraphy.
One student talks about the work that she produced as a celebration.
Oh, I think they're pretty. I did this one by myself. It was really fun.
Daisy Lin, TrojanVision News.
Well, it's time for our last break. When we return, we'll learn more about this year's hoopcoming activities. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Mom, can we get some ice cream? Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
This is Dr. Daniel Smith. He's an expert in domestic and international economics. But his proudest achievement is connecting with his students and helping them accomplish more than they ever thought possible. That's the warrior spirit, and it's alive and well at Troy University. Feel it at troy.edu/spirit.
Now back to TrojanVision News Weekly.
Troy University's Freshman Forum is getting ready for their annual hoopcoming event. We'll learn more about this year's hoopcoming in this week's Trojan Talk. Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. My guest today is Megan Wardrop from Freshman Forum, here to talk about hoopcoming. I want to thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
And hoopcoming, a lot of people out there are used to the term homecoming, and obviously that's a big event for football, but this is what we're talking about today is hoopcoming, and obviously from the hoop part of it, we're talking a little basketball, right?
Yes,
so tell us a little bit about what hoopcoming's all about.
So basically we have 16 organizations this year here at Troy, and we have a jar set up for every single one in TC, and people will come by and donate money, and at the end of the 2 weeks, the jar with the most money wins the money from every jar, and it goes towards their philanthropy.
And they get named Hoopcoming King, correct?
King,
so
exactly.
Obviously a way to kind of show a little spirit for basketball that we see for football in the fall, but all in all, even though it's a competition, it's for a good cause,
yes.
And that's the important part. Is that folks, the major component of this is this fundraising effort. And why is it so important to have an event like that, especially for Freshman Forum, to integrate something like that as part of their program? So.
Yes. Well, none of the money goes towards Freshman Forum, so I think it's really awesome that every single cent we make off this does go to the good cause, which is a lot of times the money will go towards the organization, but it's going towards their philanthropy, which I think is really great.
Really good. And the participants in this, they all had to be nominated by a group, right?
Yes.
And but it's not just fraternities and sororities. We're talking like a wide variety. Any student organization is eligible to be a part of this, right?
Yes. Every single one. And we wanted a lot this year. We wanted the variety, not just the sororities and fraternities, and we got a few new ones this year.
A few new ones in there. And so for right now, between now and when can people do the donations? So
now through the 27th, which is next Wednesday.
All right. And so and what do they need to do? I mean, how easy is it to be a part of this and help contribute to this? So
just come by and drop anything you have, change, dollars, into any of the jars. If you have an organization and they're on there, donate to them. But really, just any loose change will go towards the cause, and it'll be great.
Now, we've been talking about this fundraising going on in the Trojan Center, but obviously we're talking about homecoming. It's basketball. There's got to be a basketball element to this. And there is a hoop-coming game.
Yes.
Talk about the hoop-coming game and what festivities you have planned for that.
So the game is on February 28th, and we play Texas State. It's at 6 o'clock. And at halftime, we're going to have all of the hoop-coming nominees come out and do a really fun relay so we can kind of see who it is. And that'll just be, it doesn't play into who makes hoop-coming king, but just to like have a little fun with them.
And that's the relays. Like you said, it's already decided before they get there, but they won't know who the hoop-coming is.
No, we're going to announce it after the game.
So, but it's a chance for them to participate like it's a part of the competition.
Exactly.
Right? So,
yes, and they win a prize too. The winner of the game wins a prize.
All right.
Yes.
And you say relay competitions, but this isn't. You were not talking like hardcore athletic relay, right?
No.
What are some of the things that folks might see? Because this is probably one of the most entertaining portions of it is watching these guys compete. So tell us about some of the things we can see them do. So
we're gonna do the tissue in the box, shake out the ping pong balls, and the bat spin. And there's 16 of them, so they're gonna be kind of close. So it might be kind of chaotic.
You might see some people colliding into each other on the court.
Exactly.
So, but I know that the Kleenex box tissue ping pong thing, if folks out there, if you haven't seen this before, it is a unique sight to see because you strap the Kleenex box basically to their rear end. You tie it around, and they've got to shake the ping pong balls out of the Kleenex box.
Yes.
So I think it really, truly test the abilities of some of these individuals to dance.
Oh yes, for sure.
And it's not just the students on the court, the gentlemen that are competing for Homecoming King. You want to get student organizations there to be loud and proud, and there's a benefit for them as well if they are there and they are loud and proud, right?
We have the Homecoming Spirit Stick for the loudest organization, the one with the most people, because we really wanted to make it not just for Homecoming, we want to support the basketball team and really get people out to cheer for them.
And as a member of Freshman Forum, this is, you have a couple of big events every year, but this is probably one of the biggest events that the students on campus are aware of. And does it make you feel good to be able to get that kind of recognition for Freshman Forum out there and have students know what you all are doing here on campus?
Yes, it's awesome. And a lot of people were talking about it before we even started, who we're going to nominate. So getting people talking about it, it was awesome.
And it's become just a part of tradition. It's been relatively new. I mean, it's been going for a few years, but obviously it's something that's now become ingrained in part of the Troy University culture that, all right, we got to see who's going to be homecoming king this year, and not to mention see how they embarrass themselves on the court at the game. So once again, if anybody wants to be a part of this, not as the contestant, but to help contribute, what do they need to do?
Just come by and donate some money, or you can just come to the basketball game February 28th at 6 and just support the team and come watch them have a good time.
All right, well, here's hoping that one, successful donations are made, we get a hoop-coming king, and some guys embarrass themselves on the court shaking ping pong balls out of Kleenex box. So I want to thank you for joining us here today, and good luck with hoop-coming. So,
thank you.
And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk. And that's what happened this week. To find out what's happening throughout the week, you can tune into Troy TrojanVision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30 Monday through Friday, or anytime by following us on Troy TV News. Also feel free to like our Troy TrojanVision News fan page on Facebook to see online content from Troy TrojanVision News. We hope you join us again next week for another edition of Troy TrojanVision Weekly. Have a good week.